Law of cosines. You can use the law of cosines to solve a triangle when you're given the measures of two sides and the included angle, or when you're given three sides. So we have these formulas here for the law of cosines, and they're basically the same just depending on how you name your triangle. So we have that a squared, one of the sides, is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. And notice on the left of the equal sign and the angle, those are the ones that are two of the same letter, right? I have the A and the big A, the B and the big B, the C and the big C. All right, so dependent on the information we're given will depend on which of these, or will determine which equation we're going to use. So if we take a look at number 1, we know that we have angle A that's given to us, and then we have side C and side B. So we want to think about which of these equations uses that angle, and that would be that top equation. And we're asked to solve for all of the different parts here. So we have a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. Okay, and this will be little a when we solve it. So let's put in the information we know. So we're going to find a squared, and that's going to equal b squared, so 3 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 3 times 7 cosine of 41. And there's no reason why you couldn't just type the entire right side of this equation into a calculator and hit enter. And when you do that, you should come up with about a being, a squared would be about 26.3, and then we'll just take the square root. So a is going to be about 5.1. Okay, so we found a. Awesome. Now we still need to find angle B and angle C. So in order to find angle B, what we probably want to do is take a look at which of these equations includes angle B, and that would be the middle one. So we have b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of b. And let's plug in what we do know. Sorry for the straight mark. So b we know is 3. That's 3 squared is equal to about 5.1 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 5.1 times 7 cosine of b. And we don't know what the capital B is yet. Now, the most common mistake is to plug in everything on that left or on that right hand side other than the cosine into a calculator and then just put it in front of cosine. That is not correct because that's going to violate our order of operations here. So we do want to make sure we're actually working this out, whereas last time I had no variables on the right. So I want to do that 5.1 squared plus 7 squared, and I'm going to get 49. So that's 75.01. And then I have minus, and I'm going to multiply 2 times 5.1 times 7 and put that in front of our cosine. That's 71.4 cosine of b. I cannot just subtract those two numbers from each other because the 71.4 is being multiplied to cosine b. So I can't perform that subtraction until that multiplication occurs. Now we're going to solve. So we'll subtract the 75.01 from both sides. And that's going to give us negative 66.1 is equal to negative 71.4 cosine of b. We'll divide on both sides. And we're going to get that cosine of b is about 0.92577, and it keeps going. And then to get cosine, or get rid of the cosine, to get b by itself, we'll take the cosine inverse. And when I go ahead and do that, I'm going to get about 22 degrees. Okay. And then last but not least, we need to find angle C. So we could, from here, just make our lives easy. We know that angles add to 180. So if we're saying this is 22 and we're saying the other one's 41, all we have to do here, is to just add them up, right? So we have 41 plus 22 plus angle C is going to equal 180. 41 and 22 is 63. And then we'll just subtract. So C should give us 117. So we have both angles and that missing side. Now in example 2, instead this time, we're given 3 sides instead of being given an angle at all. So it's really a choice, which angle do you want to start by finding? It makes no difference. Any of these equations will work because I know all of the little variables. I just don't know the capital. So it's up to you. I'm going to start with A just to go alphabetical. So we have A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A. And we're going to put in what we know. So that's 18 squared is equal to 10 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 10 times 9 cosine of A. Okay, so 18 squared is going to give us 324. That's going to be 100 plus 81, so 181 minus, and then we have 2 times 10 times 9, 180 cosine of A. Remember, I cannot do that subtraction yet. I'm going to have to minus this 181 from both sides. And I'm going to get 143 is equal to negative 180 cosine of A. And then I'm going to divide by that negative 180. So I'm going to get 143 divided by negative 180 is going to give us that cosine of A is about negative 0.79444 repeating. Then to get A by itself, we're going to do the cosine inverse of that number, which is going to give us about 143. Which is funny, but just a coincidence. Okay. So we have one of our angles, 143. Now we have to find another one, and it's up to you which you want to use. I'm just going to go again alphabetical, so let's find angle B. So we have B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of B. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just plug in. So we have 10 squared is equal to 18 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 18 times 9 cosine of B. So that's going to give us 100 is equal to, let's see, when we add those together, 324 and 81 is going to give us 405 minus 324 cosine of B. We're going to subtract, so we're going to get negative 305 is equal to negative 324 cosine B. And then when we do that division, we're going to get that cosine B is equal to positive, or about positive 0.941358, and so on. So we'll take the cosine inverse of that, and we're going to get that, let's see, B is the cosine inverse of that number, which is going to give us about 20 degrees. And lastly, once I know 2 of my angles, all I have to do is just add them to get 180. So 143 plus 20 plus angle C is going to equal 180. So that's going to give us 163 plus C is 180, which means that the missing angle is 17.